Alrighty, so this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to put together a curriculum vita so you can impress all of those grad schools that you want to apply to. So, curriculum vita, that's what I am going to be showing you today. And we are going to increase the zoom here. Curriculum vita. Or you can add an E at the end of it if you want. And this is a CV. And this is an academic. This is an academic resume. It's pretty much, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you do your academic career. So length here is, I don't want to say quantity or length equals quality, because it doesn't. But it certainly is good for it to be longer than it is to be shorter. At least that's what everyone tells you, right? Here, length does matter. But no, so this is slightly different from a resume where you want the resume to be like everything all on one page, maybe front and back. But the mode in which you get the piece of paper and the eyes on that piece of paper should be quick. CVs, on the other hand, maybe a little bit more methodical, maybe a little bit more time is given by somebody reading a CV. They're kind of scrolling through it, looking at what have you published, what do you teach, what have you researched, what is your work experience, relevant work experience, and have you won any awards, have you gotten any grants, so how much money are you capable of getting? Now, depends on what kind of stuff you want, what kind of job you want, or what kind of grad school you want to go to. They're not all the same, so not all CVs are going to look the same either. So how we're going to start this is I'm not going to, you wouldn't put curriculum vita at the top. So ignore that bit. I'm going to put my name. Okay. And then, it's a good idea to put your credentials. So if you are planning on, so if you have gotten your bachelor's degree, put BA, BS. If you've gotten your master's degree, put MA, MS. And if you've gotten a doctorate, obviously you're going to put whatever you are on there. And then we're going to put, underneath this is going to be not formatted at all, just maybe justifications of where text is, that sort of thing. And so you're going to put your affiliation. So, here I'm going to put Eureka College because that's with whom I am affiliated. And then that address, and some people put their, workplace. So if you're established or home, it all depends. Then I would put some sort of contact phone number. Okay. I'm not going to put my phone number down. And then, maybe some additional way to contact you. So maybe an email address, maybe a website. Actually, I have my email address up here. So email, right? I wouldn't put the word affiliation here, but maybe this is what you can kind of do that. Yeah. And then make that square brackets here, right? So your email address, your phone number, and you can leave it there. Or if you have a website or something like that, you can do that. Now mine is, HTTPS. You should know this, friendly viewer of the stream or YouTube channel. This is, oops, oh boy, because I put this in all of my videos and have it plastered everywhere. .com, swanpsych.com, right? So that'll become a link and blah, blah, blah. The next section, so that's like your top section. The next section should be your education. Okay. So we are going to, and then we kind of make that bold, but then we're just going to go over here and left justify this. Okay. And for every one of these sections should be in reverse chronological order. That is the most recent at the top. So for me, this would be Ph.D. in psychological and brain sciences. And then you would do where you got it from, University of California, Santa Barbara. Oh, Hanna-Barbera joke there. And then when you got it. So one thing that I am actually going to sort of redo maybe a little bit on this, but what I have on my CV is obviously not how some people have it. That's just to each their own in this case. But I can't even spell Santa Barbara right. Barbara. God. But you can like tab over here so everyone is on the right justification. You can do that. And then you can say, and then I got an MA. That's not. So that's Masters of Arts. And you can say in like parentheses, what kind, if you got any sort of additional honor while you were graduating, that's on your, that'll be on your diploma. Experimental psychology. It's actually technically general experimental psychology from CSUN, but you know what? I don't care. I will name it whatever I want. Northridge. Okay. Northridge. And you can see that my tab is, so you kind of want to maybe put this into 2 columns or something, or reduce the size. I don't know. But in any case, you can see that I've obviously run out of room. May 2011. So next month I will have had my master's degree for 10 years. Wow. And then put my bachelor's of arts, and you put your and there seems to be some commotion going on. Psychology, and then it was at the same school, and it was in the same month that I got it. So you would do that. And of course, you might want to, but it was not in the same year. So there you go. So that's what you would do for your education. You would put it in the order, in the reverse order that you had received it, that you've received all of your credentials, right? And then you can also include any other kind of credentials that you may have picked up along the way. So I have a degree certificate with my PhD, which was in college and university teaching. So I do have a certificate in that, but you know. Now, there is something to be said about where you're, what is the next section? What is the next section? So if we go back to center here, what is the next section? So on my CV, the next section that I have underneath education are my academic positions. But you might, as an undergraduate, have the next section be relevant work experience. Now, I say this a lot to my students. Relevant work experience has to do with where you want to be next. Okay, so it does not mean that job at Target. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I mean, I know you're probably super thankful, grateful, and you feel very good about that Target position, but it's not going to get you into graduate school, unfortunately. I wish it did, but it doesn't. It doesn't get you into graduate school. So relevant work experience would be things like, and I'm just going to, again, reverse chronological order. So most recent first. So maybe this was a client success what in the heck? Client success rep at Memory Home of Central Illinois. I don't know, right? So client success rep, just a fancy way of saying like you helped patients out, okay? And of course, they're not patients at memory homes, they're clients. Everyone's a client. Okay. So then you would say then you would line it up with your other dates here. So then you would say May 2019, can't do dates right now, to August 2019. Okay. Wow. I am doing very poorly at getting my typing in well, right? Okay. So we do that, and then we do, and this could also include volunteer experiences. Volunteer experience. Central Illinois Mental Health Association. I don't know. This is not real, of course. No one backticks here. So I'm going to do, this was June 2018, right? All right. So there we go. We've got June 2018. And that's what we're going to do. And so that's your relevant work experience. Sure. Some of it was volunteer. You can also do relevant work and volunteer, just in case, you know, it's not clear that these were volunteer experiences. You could do that. I would recommend maybe being more explicit than less explicit, to be honest with you. I would suggest, when it's on a CV for sure, being more explicit than less explicit. That would be in my opinion there. Really need to stop that to go from going over here. Where's my mouse? All right. So, and that's what you would do. Now you could, if you really wanted to, but I would say probably not include descriptions of what you did. I would say probably not. And that is, this is likely going to be a long document, and things that you can do to make it less long are probably more important than not. So consider that. But that's you would do there. All right. So moving on to the next section here. Now, as a teacher, I, of course, have teaching experience on my CV, but you're probably not going to include that, because the idea here is you need to get into maybe a graduate school. So the next thing I would put for students would be research experience. Now, I will say that this is anything that you've done in any research class with any research bent. So if you had to do a proposal for a class, put the proposal down. Like if you had to propose something, even if it was for a grade, even if it's never going to see the light of day, it's still useful experience. And it shows to somebody looking at your CV that you actually put in the work and researching a topic, finding background literature, putting that background literature together, and producing a final product. And maybe that will act as a writing sample if your employer, if your potential graduate program or whatever is wanting that. So some applications require you to have a writing sample. So if it was a proposal for a research class, do it. If it was an actual research project that you had to do for a class, put it on there. If it was a symposium presentation, put it on there. If it was a and obviously if it was a external, either intramural or intramural proposal, or not proposal, presentation, then that obviously gets put on there. Your honors thesis gets put on there. If you've worked separately with a faculty member, that gets put on there. So your research experience is you want to fill this out to be as broad as possible so it looks phenomenal. It looks like you've done a lot, even if you don't feel like you've done a lot. Okay, so research experience. I'm not going to write down examples here, but what I will write in is what I just said. So proposals so research proposals, I'll say that. Research proposals or research projects, even if only projectos, great. Even if only for a class. You're going to put, and then of course in reverse chronological order as well, most recent at the top. Research proposals, research projects. Oops, sorry y'all. Playing with Zoom here. Research proposal, research project. We are going to put presentations for a class or for intramural or intermural presentations. So one example that I can give is that when the pre-pandemic, there was a fun little undergraduate only psychology research conference that we held. It was called ILLIWA, and it was all of the small colleges in sort of central and northern Illinois, plus some of the small colleges in Iowa, hence ILLIWA. And it was 100% undergraduate only. And it was a great experience for undergraduates, and it was a great thing for their CV to put on their resume or CV, because it was a simple presentation. Okay, so we have research proposals and projects, presentations, again in reverse chronological order, and the other thing that you're going to want to make sure is that these are format in, I don't know, a uniform citation style. So, e.g., wow, too many periods. E.g., APA style. And currently we're in 7th edition. So I would suggest that. Format in uniform citation style. If linked, right? So or I should say, if exist online, like say, I don't know, program, or you have the actual data online, the data or the presentation online, link it. So that's a good thing to do. Now, research experience. When this gets pretty full, you'll want to have subheadings. So you'll want to have, so we'll have subheadings of papers. So these are your proposals or your research projects, and then you would have like presentations as a separate one, and then we'll put some asterisks next to these. If it exists online, link it. Okay. And so, you could use, at least you'd use for an undergraduate, you could use these two subheadings. That's the word that I was looking for, subheadings. You could use those particular subheadings. You don't need any of the additional subheadings until you get like a more advanced graduate career and you're kind of doing stuff. Another one that you could do is if you are writing something, you can do manuscripts in preparation. I am not doing very well with the typing today. Manuscripts in preparation, and then you would identify in citation style. And manuals have how to present those kinds of things. Moving on to the next section here. We are now. You could, if you've gotten a lot of honors and awards, feel free to move around this, because you really want to highlight on the first page the best thing about you. Education and relevant work experience, I think, should be sections 1 and 2, after obviously the header here. But if you don't have all of the research experience, or you're uneasy about it, then maybe boot it to something else. Okay. Oh, and I should relevant work and volunteer experiences also includes internships. Okay. So whether or not you were getting paid in cash or paid in credit, yes, those are both valid. So if you've gotten a lot of honors and awards, or you've gotten a handful of them, maybe like one or two, but they're really prestigious, then I would move this up. But this is how my ordering kind of works here. So I have honors and awards, and then I just excuse me, I just have the date. Again, reverse chronological order. I just have the date. So let's say, all right, imagine here that it's already May 2021. You'll want to include that maybe you got Dean's List. Or you could say, you know, however many dates. I really wish the doc didn't keep doing that. All right. So we've got the Dean's List in May 2021. Hell yeah. What else could you have gotten? The stream. Oh, sorry. That was in, so let's say this was in February. Ah, here we go. No, I've got one. December 2020. You got a Melky Award Best Student. There you go. You got a Melky Award Best Student. Okay. What's a Melky Award, you ask? Wonderful watcher of this CV tutorial. He's a streamer, and he created an award show. That's all you need to know. And then let's say in August 2020, you were awarded Best Student Ever Scholarship. $20,000. Oops. $20,000. The Best Student Ever Scholarship. You got 20 grand for it, to being the best student ever. Amazing. So you would do that. Okay. If you have any other experience or service outside of anything that I have put up in here or in the relevant work experience, then you can put that in a separate section. I don't think that's applicable to a student, but what we can do is we could do co-curricular activities. We can have another section called co-curricular activities. So these are the things that you did in support of or in addition to all of your regular schooling and such. So co-curricular activities, these again, reverse chronological order. I want the left justify. I need to set a hotkey for that. Okay, so co-curricular activities. Maybe you were the president of the Psych Social Club. So we'll say this was January 2020 to December 2020. President, Psychology, Sociology Club. Booyah. There you go. That's a good co-curricular. Another thing you could do is talk about the other things that you were doing as far as co-curricular goes. So, I should say that if you are a member of an honor society, that goes in honors and awards. So let me go back up here and we'll say April 2021, you got inducted into, where is it? Okay. You got inducted into Psych International I don't know if that's the abbreviation for international. I don't think it is. Honors Society in Psych. And then you would say Eureka chapter, because that's, wow. Apologies for my type. Eureka chapter. There we go. Okay. Back to co-curricular activities. You could also do, if you were, you wouldn't have been able to do president at the same time, but let's say January 2019. Well, that's impossible because you just got it. Let's say this was, that's fine. Another co-curricular that you could do is you could have been on, student. Let's say this was August 2019 to May 2020. You are also senator at large student senate. Sensitor. I really need to change this. Senator. So those would be your co-curricular activities. And then last but not least, we are going to tell people relevant skills. And here's where you would put all of your relevant skills. Okay. You will put in things like computer skills. So what are you proficient at? So what apps do you know, right? So this would be things like Microsoft Office. This would be like, the Adobe Suite, CC, okay? Or other such products that are related to those things. Do you know CSS/HTML? I know these are two different things, but they sort of work together. Do you know Windows and Mac systems? Do you even know Linux? Linus. Great. Web design. Blogging. All things like that. So tell them what you're good at. What can you do? Stats programs. Okay, not just Excel, but do you know things like what I had on the stream earlier, which was JASP? Can you also work with other things like R, Jamovi, right? So programming languages. R, Python. What else is there? C, C++. I don't know. I don't know what's really being used these days, other than R and Python. MATLAB, I guess. So stats programs, programming languages, so SPSS, JASP, Jamovi, etc. Okay. Just, what are those? Okay. I guess I could put MATLAB on here. Things like that. Also, what kinds of computer, what can you do, right? So these are things like apps, but what else can you do? Can you do networking? Oops. Can you build a PC? PC building. Other kinds of troubleshooting, right? Things like that. I'm sorry, but games aren't going to be useful on here. Do you know how to play games? And the answer here is, I'm so glad that you know how to play games, but I wouldn't include those. I would not include those. Other things. So apparatus. Like, what can you work with? So what do you know how to use? So can you use an eye tracker? Can you use an fMRI? I mean, you're not going to get that from my little old school, but are you getting training in other things like that? Can you use, I don't know, experimental software that have components like DirectRT, right? Or Media Lab. I know those are software, of course, but other things include. Oh, what are the other things? What do they actually include these days? I'm gonna put up here because I realized that I haven't put it on my own. Screen recording software like OBS. That also works. You can also include things like do you know how to build stuff? Like, are you good with woodworking? Metalworking, right? These are skills that potential graduate schools or employers are really looking for. These skills can actually transfer to your ability to move up in a job or move up in a program or be selected for a program. It's like, oh man, that person knows how to woodwork. Okay, we need to build some apparatus. We need to build something to test participants on our next experiment. We could hire it out, or we could have this person who wants to also do research and do it's a leg up. I don't think you would be admitted into a program just for your woodworking skills, but if all things being equal, you were the same exact in all other levels, but also a woodworker or a fine carpenter of sorts, then you might win. If all things were equal except for that, then you might get selected above that person. So the other person. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm throwing it out there. It's kind of silly, but it also makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I would include that in there. Any other, you could also include things like instruments. Honestly, you should throw everything and the kitchen sink in this case. Just throw everything and the kitchen sink, because it's you have to differentiate yourself from people as best you can, right? So the last section that I want to include on this CV is references. I would include maybe at least 2 academic references. You want their name, title, contact info, right? All of that good stuff. But best to have 3. 3 is always a good number. And these 3 will likely be people that you have already asked to be letter writers and that you plan on maybe keeping in contact with as you go through, because they could always end up being a new reference. Pick people that will obviously, say amazing things about you. Ask before putting them on a document that is going to go to a lot of people. So if you are planning on sending this out into the world, make sure that everyone knows what exactly is going on. Make sure that you're not giving somebody's cell phone number out, and then passing it along to other people. Like, that's really important. It's really, really important. So that is, excuse me, going through puberty there. So that is a quick primer on building a curriculum vita. Yeah, if you have any comments, suggestions, or feedback, please do let me know on all of this. This is a very short, very cursory look. I put in some actual information, and then I didn't put in actual information. I kind of just like listed things. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions or comments on those things.